The end. This place has become my room too. I no longer want to be away from you even for a little bit. How could Brisby get the meaning of those words wrong? Her eyes remained fixed on him, and then her face quickly became red. Fenric stared at her carefully, then asked again, "Does it bother you?" "To say that it bothers me, no, it makes me happy." Then I don't want to be away from you either." "I knew you would answer like that." Fenric laughed lightly, and Brisby shared a small smile. "Does this satisfy you?" "What do you mean?" "I mean everything. How could I not like it when I'm with you, Duke?" "Do you intend to continue calling me Duke?" He wasn't a Duke anymore. A sarcastic smile appeared on his lips. "So, what do I call you?" "I only learned today that I have no name." Brisby laughed this time and whispered, "Fenric." When his name slipped from her lips, a spectrum of many emotions appeared on his face, but it was by no means an annoyed face. "Your name is like a spell." "Why?" "I always felt like this." Whenever I said it, I was overcome with a strange sense of reassurance. "That's because you know, if anything happens to you, I will always come to save you." "Maybe that's why then." Brisby smiled weakly. "That's why, starting now, call my name every day." "Huh?" "Call me while you are happy, or while you are moaning, or even screaming. If you want, call me like a dog is called, that is okay." "But will I ever end up calling him like a dog?" Brisby thought to herself. "As for tonight, I would love for him to be the first choice." "Do you mind?" They often shared similar nights, but it was nothing more than falling asleep in his arms and feeling the warmth of his body. However, starting today, calling out his name like this every night, it won't be a bad thing. Her face flushed even more as she smiled, then she dared to raise her head slightly and place a shy kiss on his lips. As if he had been waiting for her for a long time, Fenric pulled her into his arms and deepened that kiss, much warmer and longer. When he let go of her lips for a moment, she saw her face reflected in his red eyes, a face that seemed strange to her with its paleness and rosy cheeks, but it looked good as long as he made it. Then his warm breath flowed down her neck, descending slowly, while he surrounded her with his strong arm, and the sound of his heavy breathing and the heat of his body overwhelming her made Brisby mutter his name in a shaky voice as he wanted, "Fenric, these days will never end. I will meditate on your name every day as now." The thought alone made her heart beat like crazy. "I love you." As if to answer her, he raised his head and whispered in her ear in a low voice, "Forever." "Me too." Her voice came out a little shaky as his large, warm hands slowly pulled the silk robe off her shoulders. And so, their first night in Alfheim passed. Time was slowly accumulating. Spring passed, and summer came. Summer passed, and autumn arrived. The first autumn in Alfheim was largely peaceful. By Brisby's side there was always Fenric and Hannah, and the days passed with little joys. Brisby no longer even thought about what happened in Atloya. It is enough for her now to live this daily life next to Fenric, as she is completely occupied with it. It wasn't that they were doing great work together, it might have seemed to others that they were doing nothing but hanging out. But Brisby, Fenric, and Hannah had never known the value of this life before. They have never had a real safe holiday. Thus, they welcomed the new chapter with a relaxed spirit. As if they were finally enjoying a vacation. That was on a fall day. In the deepest corners of the huge, luxurious palace, where the path led into the garden, stood a huge tree. Even at first glance, it looked like an ancient tree, with thick branches and abundant leaves, and just standing in front of it was enough to fill the soul with comfort. It looks like the tattoo engraved on Fenric's chest. Maybe that's why Brisby liked him more. Anyway, she loved spending her time under that tree. As usual, today too, she sat leaning against his torso, reading a book she brought with her, and drinking the delicious tea that Hannah brought for her. As for Fenric, he was lying with his head resting on her legs. Brisby, slowly lowering her eyes over the lines, closed the book with a slightly sighing face. It was fun, and it ended quickly. Maybe I should buy a longer book next time? I thought alone. Reading was a new hobby I picked up recently. And in Alfheim, where people came from various empires, there was an abundance of diverse books. Some of them were very interesting, others were so absurdly imaginative that she doubted whether they could happen, but she enjoyed reading them nonetheless. When she was reading stories about an empire she had not yet visited, Fenric would turn to her and ask slowly, "Do you want us to visit her?" "Really? I always told you. If that's what you want, I'll do anything for you." "Whatever." Of course, that's nice too. But at this moment, Presepe just wanted to slowly spend her days at Fenric's side, enjoying time with him. However, she was fully aware that his words were never just a passing statement. So, every time he said something like that, she would smile gratefully at him, thanking his kind heart. That kind heart was truly beautiful in her eyes. She gently poked his cheek with her hand, as if she was teasing him, but he did not open his eyes. Maybe because he had exhausted himself too much last night, or maybe because he simply wanted to get some sleep in the daylight. Anyway, he seemed to be in a deeper sleep than I expected. His sunlit face was extremely calm. Then, it suddenly occurred to her, very handsome, long and thick eyelashes that do not leave a gap. A tall nose, as if carefully sculpted. Hard, masculine facial lines. A sharp jaw as if polished. Black hair blowing lightly in the autumn breeze. A tattoo in the shape of a tree is clearly visible between the collar of his black shirt. Today too, as every day, Fenric was perfect enough to make Precipice's heart beat strongly, perfect in his handsomeness, perfect in his love. As she watched him silently, a sentence she had said to him one day came back to mind. "I want a warm place, with long days and short nights. I want the sun to shine for a long time, so that I can see your face under its light for a longer time." Yes. I was hoping for a day like this. Just like today. "Are you laughing because I'm handsome?" His deep voice suddenly startled her, and she stopped for a moment and stared at him. He woke up, and was looking directly at her. "Let's say yes. Maybe it makes you feel good. So you're really smiling because I'm handsome." And that wasn't a lie. Fenric smiled calmly, then slowly sat down. He came closer and kissed her cheek gently. "I feel very happy today." "Me too." "Why are you happy?" "Because you are happy." It was a naively simple answer, but it was completely honest to him, and Presepe knew it well. She held his hand tightly, feeling his long, strong fingers, then his scarred palm. This hand that has always protected. It was her favorite thing. "Maybe my question is strange, but are you trying to seduce me now?" "Huh? I feel like you do." "It wasn't my intention." Fenric felt her gaze, so he looked back at her. She was silent for a long time as she stared at the tattoo. Then after a short time, she whispered, "A question on my mind. Can I ask you?" "Ask." "If we went back to the beginning, would you love me too?" Although Aloya's painful memories were fading little by little, her curiosity suddenly overtook her. If you didn't have this moment together, would Fenric have risked everything to come to her? Like he did the first time? Naturally. Fenric answered without the slightest hesitation. "Because loving you is the easiest thing I do, and the thing I do best. Whether we go back to the beginning or any other time, that will never change. Ever." "What about you?" he asked her this time. "At first, you thought I was a suspicious and mysterious man. If you had gone back to that moment, would you have chosen me again?" "Naturally. You were the first and last person in this world that I spoke to of my own free will. And that alone meant a lot. Everything in this world was going as it was intended, but my only choice turned everything upside down. Because I loved you. So, if you hadn't helped me back then, would you have still loved me?" Oh, that's not what I mean. What I mean is that I'm lucky to have an eye that sees clearly. She smiled and added, if it weren't for you, I would still be in pain. But I didn't love you because you saved me. Then why? Maybe because you're handsome? Fenric gave a small smile. I love you, simply because you are Fenric. Because you are the person who accepts me as I am, understands me, and always stands by my side. Is that a sufficient answer? Fenric didn't reply a word. All he did was hold her tightly in his arms. Then he whispered in her ear, I love you, Presepe. I love you in a way that I can't even describe, nor find a single form for. I love you, forever. Although he said that he did not know how to express it, every time he said it, Presepe felt the depth of his sincerity and the greatness of his love. I love you too. More than all my feelings combined into one. Then I hugged him tightly. Today, and tomorrow, their life together will continue uninterrupted. There will no longer be any time for loneliness. Neither for Presepe in the game, nor for Juyeon in reality. She left the iron cage that had long shackled her and made her sad, forever. She was outside the cage, happy. Fly high in the sky with Fenric, without any restriction, and without any coercion. All that remains is a future that they choose together. And Presepe didn't doubt it for a moment. Fenric moved his body slightly, kissed her forehead, then tucked her flowing silver hair behind her ear. He smiled at her with pure light. There is no longer a place for loneliness. All that remained was their presence together, and that alone was enough to fill the heart with palpitations. For both, together. And so, day after day, their days accumulated with peace and freedom. Very happy.